The impression I came away with last night is of you and your relationship with Brian. And I don't need clarification of either.
No, look, you really don't understand the situation.
Oh, yes, I do. You're obviously living at the apartment. And if I'd venture a wild guess, I'd say you're living there rent-free. What else is there to say?
Look, I know you were hurt. It was awful the way things happened. But I want you to know that Brian is terribly concerned. He would never intentionally hurt you.
No, he's far too noble for that. Look, tell him not to be terribly concerned, because I'm not. The only reason I went over to the apartment last night was because a friend of mine got me into a stupidly sentimental frame of mind which I'll regret the rest of my life. Tell him I'm fully recovered. Barbara's just fine. Now, I'm sure that'll deflate his male ego a little bit, but it's true.
I know you two were close once. Brian respects you, and he still cares.
I don't want his respect. I don't want anything from him. And I resent him discussing any of this with you.
Look, you misunderstood. It's
I
not
don't
as simple
misunderstand anything. You came over here today to gloat. You thought you'd find me devastated in tears.
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. But I haven't felt this good in a long, long time. I should have written Brian McCall off months ago and left him to women like you, Miss O'Hara.
Look, I only came by here to clarify the situation. But obviously I've upset you even more. I'm sorry that things happened the way they did.
Will you get out of here?
Yes, I will.
Good.
But...
And while you're leaving, let me tell you that I think that you and Brian are absolutely perfect for each other. You're exactly what he's always needed. Someone who could be totally dependent on him, kept in that little apartment, look up to him and massage that male, massive ego of his. I'm afraid I'm a little too bright and a little too strong to be put in that pathetic pattern. Tell him that for me, okay?
No. I'm sorry I came here at all.
Applique in the same fabric would be lovely. Can you hold a minute? I think the messenger's here to send off my new design. Hold on, thank you. Marco! Well, what a nice surprise.
Is it, Barbara? Oh, good. I'm glad I could return the favor. Because I got hit with quite a surprise myself this morning. I can't stay long, but I'm sure it'll be a visit you won't ever forget.
If you will excuse me, my manufacturer's on the phone. I will tell him I will call him back.
If you'd like, I'll tell him a few things. Like how simple his Simply Barbara really is.
Jerry? Yes, it wasn't the messenger at all. A friend of mine stopped by unexpectedly. Could I call you back? Thank you.
Now, that's funny. My husband had trouble facing me this morning, too. There must be something highly contagious in the air. Let's hope it's not an epidemic of infidelity. But with you as a carrier, it could happen.
Look, I don't know what Tom told you.
Tom didn't tell me anything. He had the good taste to remain silent and just look guilty as hell. But I shouldn't expect a show of taste from you, should I? You save all that for your design.
If this is going to turn into an angry little exchange of insults, you may leave.
You're gonna throw me out, Ms. Ryan? I only wish you'd try.
If you haven't talked this over with Tom, you have a lot of nerve coming over here and
there is
attacking me.
nothing for Tom to talk over with me. Nothing. Because it is over, Barbara. I could have forgiven him almost anything, but not turning to someone like you. He got drunk in New York and picked up some sort of call girl. And somewhere along the line, down the road, I might have understood that. But to become the willing victim of someone who is cold and calculating, the schemer that you've become, I find it hard to understand and hard to forgive.
Margot, maybe if you had taken the time or shown some interest in Tom's needs, this never would have happened.
Oh, well, now, there's a switch. You were the one that was always cheering me on in my career, telling me how proud you were of me, that I was able to manage a successful job and a marriage at the same time. And you know what? I was so naive. I was so stupid that I thought you were my friend. And all along, you were plotting and planning this whole
There was
thing.
nothing planned or calculated about what happened. Tom was lonely, miserable.
And you were hungry for another woman's husband. Lord, you even had me help convince him to go to New York on that trip with you. You're in the right profession, Barbara, I'll tell you that much. Designer describes you to a T.
Don't you stand there and play the self-righteous wounded wife with me. My name used to be Barbara Stenbeck, remember? Former wife of James Stenbeck. And there was a time, Margot, that you weren't above seducing another woman's husband was there. In fact, you and Tom are living in the house that James gave you when you were his mistress.
That's true. It's not a part of my past that I'm very proud of. And it's true all the same. So is this what this is, Barbara? You waited all these years to even the score?
I never gave it a second thought.
That I believe, because I don't think you'd give a thought to anything except how to get more for Barbara. You know what the most pathetic thing about this whole situation is? You don't give a damn for Tom. He's just a convenience to you. Because if I thought you cared about Tom, if I thought you were capable of caring for anyone but Barbara, I might be hurt by what happened here. Instead, I feel sick to my stomach. Look at you. Not a hair out of place this early in the morning. The living picture of what every woman would love to look like just once in their life. I gotta get out of here before I throw up all over you. Have fun while you can, Barbara, because you're in for a very lonely old age.
Well, I was just leaving. No, you are not going anywhere until I finish what I'm going to say. I was right all along. I knew you were part of this despicable little scheme.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh. Well, let me refresh your memory, Mrs. Stenbeck. First of all, this man comes into my apartment posing as a heating engineer. Second, a copy of a letter that I had thrown away ends up being delivered to Brian at my apartment by a beautiful mystery woman. Now, it doesn't take much to add 2 and 2 and come up with you.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
I told Brian all along it was you. I'll bet you're the one that hired that Smitty guy, too, aren't you?
Oh, Shannon, you're out of your mind.
Well, you can stand there denying it till you're blue in the face, but it won't do any good.
Frankly, my dear Miss O'Hara, I don't give a damn.
I had the feeling all along it was you who sent those men to spy on me.
Please leave. I have better things to do than stand here and listen to your raving.
Are you denying it? After I caught you in Daniel's office?
Why would I hire anyone to spy on you, Shannon?
Because you've never forgiven Brian for hurting you. And you think you can get back at him through me.
I don't need a private detective to tell me who and what you are. You're an insignificant little nobody with an overactive imagination. Now, please leave.
Look, Barbara, I don't like you. Any more than you obviously like me. But let's at least be honest with each other. Delving into my past is not going to make you hurt any less.
Well, I've got news for you. I've never felt better in my whole life.
I don't believe that. I can't believe that being vindictive could make anybody feel better.
Losing Brian was the best thing that ever happened to me. I don't need a man to cling to for happiness. I can create my own.
I can't believe you're so bitter. I feel so sorry for you.
Don't you pity me?
Oh! I don't pity you, Barbara. I pity Brian for ever being so deluded as to love you.
I warned you not to push me too far, and I hate you for bringing me down to your level.
No, you hate me because you know I'm right. You're trying to be vindictive, and it won't work.
What are you so afraid of, Shannon? If you have nothing to hide, why are you so concerned about someone checking into your past, huh?
My past is none of your business.
Well, guess what?
It's good to see you, Margot. Drop the pretense, Barbara. not very nice to see you. I really came over here because I wanted to tell you you can't control my life.
Meaning what?
Meaning, you told Shannon that you and I were friends? And I also do not want you telling Shannon whether I will or will not be a bridesmaid of hers. I resent that.
I was just trying to help, Margot, that's all.
Sure you were, Barbara.
I was. Look, I know that Tom is going to be Brian's best man. I just wanted to save you from an embarrassing situation.
A situation that you created. That's okay. I can deal with it.
Hello, Margot.
Goodbye, Barbara.
Hold it, right there. I didn't close the door on you the morning you came over to make accusations. The least you can do is let me talk, all right? I want you to know how unfair you're being to Tom.
I'm sure there's a lot of things that you could tell me about Tom, Barbara, but I'm not interested.
No. You jumped to the wrong conclusions this morning. What you walked in on was a...
What I walked in on there was my soon-to-be ex-husband holding his cheap trick.
Hi, Margot. I just came by to pick up my stuff.
I packed the things you left in the bedroom, okay?
Thanks. I'll be out of your way in a minute.
Fine.
Very attractive young man. I'm glad to see you're not spending all of your time alone. Feel better?
No, I don't, because I realize that I'm rapidly sinking down to your level, so why don't you get out of here?
No, I'm not going anywhere until you understand exactly what happened between me and Tom. It was a mistake. Don't you see that? And if you looked at the facts, Margot, you
There's only one fact here. You had an affair with my husband.
No, it happened only once, and there were reasons, Margot. You were concentrating on your career, remember? And then Tom and I were going to New York.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And I was coming back the afternoon you left, remember? I asked you to give him a message for me so that he would wait for me. Should have known better than to trust you with anything.
Oh, no, I told him. I told him, Margot, you just ask him. And then we had Simply Barbara from there. We got involved with everything, got caught up in the excitement of it. We were drinking. We were both very lonely. And it just happened. Now, are you going to divorce the man that you love and who loves you because of one slip?
I don't care how many times it happened. What I can't forgive is that it happened with you. A cold, conniving witch who manipulated my husband into bed, and she had the audacity of calling herself my friend.
I am your friend, Margot.
Save it, Barbara, okay? Tom may not be able to see through you, but I certainly can. You don't care about anyone but yourself. And you're using him. And I don't know why.
I know that you're saying all these things to try to hurt me. But I certainly know and hope that you have enough sense not to say anything to anybody else about this. If Kim or Bob or Lisa found out, it would hurt them terribly.
I haven't even told John, and he trusts you less than I do. But then again, good instincts run in the family.
So you'll give me your word that you won't say anything?
I wouldn't give you the time of day. I still respect Tom too much to say, tell anyone that he's up with you.
I'll see you later, Margot.
Casey. Casey, I'd like you to meet Barbara Ryan. Oakdale's famous designing woman.
Hi.
This is Casey Peretti. He is a resident that John is sponsoring at Memorial. He was living here until I moved in. Got that straight now?
Nice to meet you. Sorry I couldn't make you understand, Margot. Bye.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad you're not going to tell anyone.
Here you go, Lila. All set. Thank you. And let me offer my best to you on your opening tonight. Break a leg. Same to you. Bye. Bye, Lila. Lila, have I done something to offend you?
Let's just say it's something you've done to offend my daughter. I think you know what it is.
Good evening. The lady in blue has a night out on the town. Your mother was really wonderful. Really charming. Thank you. I'm very proud of her. Well, I'm going just to see that all the waiters have brought my guests in. You coming?
In a minute.
Margot, why don't you run along? I know that she likes people to come when she calls them. You know, your new friend.
Are we going to behave like this every single time that we see each other?
I don't see why not. You made the bed, now we're all lying in it, so to speak.
You know, I'm really sick and tired of being cast as a villainess in this piece.
I don't see why. It's a perfect role for you. Tailor-made, in fact.
Did you know that Tom is refusing to represent Simply Barbara any longer? That he's turned it over to Greg Hadley?
So?
So, Tom blames me, you blame me. It's not all my fault, Margot.
No, you're right. You're right. It's not all your fault. There are other people to blame. Like Tom, for instance, for having the appalling lack of good taste in sleeping with you.
Are we just going to stand here and trade insults?
No. You're going to leave before I forget I'm a lady.
A lady. What about a wife? What about a wife, Margot? What about all those months that you were too busy being a lady cop, worried about your big promotion, and only thinking of your needs, not Tom's? Is it any wonder that he wound up in bed with a real woman?
Barbara, I just really want a very quiet, dignified divorce. Bad enough that Tom had to give John a black eye. So why don't you leave before I give you a black eye?
I'm not denying my role in this whole mess. But isn't it about time that you start taking responsibility, Margot? The poor, betrayed, loving wife routine just makes me sick. Grow up, Margot.
I'm sorry. Are we interrupting something?
Yes. Thank God.
I know all about your tawdry little affair with Lucinda's son-in-law. Wonder how she'd feel if she knew.
Good evening, Barbara.
Oh, it was till you walked in.
You must be very proud of yourself.
Why? What have I done now?
I know you have a bag full of nasty little tricks, but you've really outdone yourself this time.
I don't have the faintest idea what you're talking about, darling, nor do I care.
No, you don't. You are not going anywhere until I'm finished with you.
Get your hands off of me.
You and Duncan have quite a scam going, don't you?
Duncan who?
Oh, don't play the innocent with me, Toots. It doesn't work.
Listen, Shannon or Aaron or whatever your name is, I'm sick and tired of you blaming everyone else for your own mistakes. It's your own fault that you had a husband somewhere in Scotland.
But it was your idea to bring him over here.
Oh, why would I want to do something like that?
Because you can't stand the idea of Brian being happy with someone else?
I never saw Duncan McKechnie until he stopped your wedding.
Oh, you are such a liar.
Don't push me, lady. I have a lot of names for you, too.
Oh, really? Well, I'd love to hear them, but I think first you should know that when Harriet and I were in Duncan's suite, we saw a list of your phone numbers for him to call you day or night.
Really? Well, I can't be responsible for every man who could get his hands on my phone number.
Well, that's certainly true. But he sure fits your pattern, doesn't he? As long as he's legally married to me, he's fair game. Another woman's man.
If you weren't the tramp at 18 that you are now, this never would have happened, would it? A leopard doesn't change its spots. Or shall I say, an alley cat?
If anybody's a tramp in this room, Barbara, it's you. Going around breaking up marriages like Margot's and Tom's.
I've had just about enough.
Exactly what did you have to do to persuade Duncan to pull this last trick, huh?
As usual, I don't have the faintest idea what you're talking about.
Oh, give me a break, Babs. You're not only a liar, you're a conniving, sneaking little housebreaker who has never forgiven Brian for dumping you, and now you're out to hurt every man who crosses your path.
If I really wanted Brian, I would have used your tricks to keep him.
Tricks?
Yes. Shacking up with him, using your body to keep a leash on him. Who'd you learn all those from? Your Uncle Earl? Was he your pimp while you were sleeping your way across Europe?
You asked for it, sister.
No, Shannon. No.
Get it, Shannon.
Stay! No! Stop it! What do you think you're doing? Leave me alone! Stop it! Stop it! Let it go!
You shouldn't have done that.
Oh, why not? I feel better than I have ever felt in my entire life. Oh.
missed all the fun. Oh, Barbara.
I bet you think this is funny, Lila.
Oh, but I see that you recovered very, very well, not a hair out of place, dear.
I'll tell you something. I have half a mind to call the police and have that Irish concubine and the bag lady arrested.
Well, I think that's a great idea. Why don't you call the police? Because then Margot would find out about it, and I'm sure she'd love to know what went on here. So why don't you do it? Call the police.
Funny, lady.
Hello, Lila. Hi, is Lisa here? No, Lisa's not here. May I help you?
No, I don't think so. Well, I'm looking for a dress for Shannon's, wedding, but I'll wait till Lisa comes back.
Lila. Look, I don't know what Margot told you about what happened between me and Tom, but just know that there are two sides to every story.
Yeah, well, I'm not really interested in your side of the story. I'm sure that you can justify everything that you've done in your own mind. But you hurt my daughter very much. And it's not easy for me to sit around watching you get away with it. Because I just wish that I could tell all of Oakdale what you've done.
But you won't be that foolish, will you?
Don't push me. You know, Shannon told me on New Year's Eve at a party that you were the type of person that was only interested in other women's men. But I just didn't listen.
Well, I'm glad you didn't, because it's not true.
Oh, it is true. Sort of sickening. If I had it my way, I would tell every woman in this town about what you are, so they wouldn't make the same mistake as Margot did. And that was to trust you.
Now, you've already told me what you think of me, but please know that my family is the most important thing in the world. I know you work with Bob. I know you know other members of my family, people who I love very much. I wouldn't want them to find out about this. It would hurt them terribly.
Barbara, why didn't you think of that before you slept with Tom?
Lila, it was a mistake. It was not planned. It just happened.
Well, I think that you plan everything in your life very carefully. But don't worry. I know that Bob and Kim have a lot on their mind. I wouldn't dream of adding to their problems.
Thank you.
We'll save it. Oh, and another thing. Margot tells me that she keeps running into you with Tom, and I don't think it's an accident. So could you please stay away from him?
What possible reason would I have to want to keep them apart?
I am not a psychiatrist. I do know that you have been hurt very much by men, and it seems like you enjoy hurting them back. And I'm sorry for that. But more importantly, I'm sorry for Margot because she got caught in the middle of it.
You think I'm that neurotic, do you?
I think you know what's deep in your heart. And I hope you can change. I really do. Think about it. Tell Lisa I'll come back when I can see her alone.
Don't come any further, okay?
Don't worry, Babs. I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. I just want to chat about your new friend, Duncan.
Ah, Duncan McKechnie. I've heard enough about him for one
Listen,
day.
I really hate the thought of lowering myself to your level, but I'll fight fire with fire if I have to.
Meaning what?
Meaning, you are going to convince Duncan to sign that annulment agreement.
Oh, honey, you're dreaming.
And if you don't get his signature, I'm going to tell everyone in Oakdale that you were the one who came between Tom and Margot, starting with your good friend and partner, Lisa McCall.
Don't you dare go telling Lisa any lies about me and Tom. You got it?
Not lies, sweetheart. The truth. Harriet overheard you and Lila talking about it at Fashions. And I'm sure that Lila would be more than happy to corroborate the facts. So what's it gonna be?
I can't go to Duncan with us.
So you admit
I don't
you brought
admit
it-
anything.
Fine. Lisa's right inside.
Wait! Do you have any idea how many people will be hurt if you start spreading this ugly story around?
Huh? That didn't stop you from sleeping with Tom, did it? The way I figure it, I'm saving people from a lot more hurt by exposing you for what you are.
suppose I do go to Duncan. There's no guarantee that he'll sign this agreement for you.
You'll find a way. You're so good at getting men to do what you want.
I'll need time.
Okay. You have 24 hours. If Duncan hasn't given us a signed agreement by then, Babs, the jig's up.
Barbara, dear, I couldn't help but notice that there was quite a bit of tension between you and Shannon right after her wedding was called off. I'm very happy to see the two of you are getting along so well now. Well, you coming along?
In a minute. I'm freshening my makeup.
Yes, there.
Some restaurants, aren't you there?
Very attractive guy. Let's get right down to business, okay? Do you want to be my signature model, or don't you?
More than anything in the world. But I thought that you said that Mrs. Walsh had an objection with that.
Mrs. Walsh had another model that she wanted to use from New York, and unfortunately, or fortunately for you, she's not available. So I convinced her to use some local talent who might be more willing to see things my way.
I'm very good at following directions.
Good. Then we understand each other? I will have Ambrose Bingham draw up a new contract for you, say for a trial period of 30 days.
90 days.
90 days. Be here at 10 sharp for your first fittings, okay? And Denise, I want you to forget everything that's happened between us up to this moment, including seeing me going to Tad Channing's suite last night. Got it?
As soon as I sign that contract, total amnesia.
I came here to talk about Paul.
State your business, then leave.
I'm going to take him to a ball game in Chicago, spend the night, have...
Absolutely not. You see him twice a week, and under no circumstances can you take him out of town.
Okay, listen. I want to invite Andy, and I will even take your brother Rick along as a chaperone, if that will appease you. I just want to get to know my son. Why are you making it so difficult for me?
2 visits a week. Take it or leave it.
Paul is going to question that.
And you'll have to come up with some answers that will satisfy him, won't you?
Like the fact his mother's being completely unreasonable?
Look, I have protected him from your past all these years. If you want, I'll tell him everything. And while I'm at it, I'll go over and tell Ellen Stewart all about you and little Emily, okay?
And then I will be forced to tell our son about your tawdry affair with Tony O'Reilly, trying to break up Tom and Margot's marriage, and your little slumber parties out at Duncan's castle.
Okay, all right. I've done some things that I'm not exactly proud of, but compared to you, I'm a saint. So why don't we tell everything about us to Paul, okay? We'll see who comes up smelling sweeter. You don't like that idea very much, do you, James? Because you'll lose, hands down. And we both know how much you hate to lose. Come in.
What are you doing here?
Barbara, Lucinda has found out about our affair. She hired a detective and was on to us. I'm sorry. Look, she may come to you next.
Oh, Tonio, she came to me months ago. I told her that you were the biggest mistake of my life.
Why didn't you tell me?
Why should I?
You at least owe me the courtesy of telling me something like that.
Nothing. Now, please leave.
That does it, lady.
I'll tell you something. I'll give you a piece of advice, just for old time's sake, Tonio. Lucinda's wise to you. So if you plan on inheriting the kingdom, I suggest you stay married to Sierra, well, just at least long enough until Lucinda's first grandchild is born.
Am I interrupting you something?
Mr. Reyes was just leaving.
Did you come here to buy another watch for your wife?
I was settling my accounts.
Oh, you don't trust the mail service? Or maybe that wasn't the account you were speaking of.
Now, what was that supposed to mean?
I'm sure you're going to Paul's swim meet. It would mean a lot to him, Barbara, if we went together.
Look, James, you can use emotional blackmail on Emily, okay? But it doesn't work on me anymore. Not anymore.
It's just because Duncan's so far away in Edinburgh. Don't take your frustrations out on me.
James.
Why did he make this sudden trip? Could it be to hide the ruckle he stole from Emily?
Duncan didn't steal the ruckle. And, you know, I'm just real curious to find out why she didn't report this theft to the police.
Well, that answer is very simple. She's embarrassed about her past relationship with Hensley Taggart.
Oh, yes, she's embarrassed, but not about Hensley. She's embarrassed about you. Poor girl. You're old enough to be her father, and all she hears about you from her family, just negative things. She's far too embarrassed to let them know that she was so ignorant.
I'm going to be late for Paul's swim meet.
Well, she can't hide you much longer, James. You see, Ellen reported the break-in to Margot. Of course, Ellen doesn't know about the ruckle, so she couldn't report that part to Margot, but Betsy knows.
How does Betsy know?
I told her.
Hal's in the shower. Please, come on in, Margot.
No, that's okay. I just came by to tell him I was back from Cape Cod and, no actual news to report. I'll see him at the station tomorrow.
Suit yourself.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna bite on this one. What are you doing here, Barbara? I mean, hanging out with a cop. That's a little bit of a come down for you, isn't it?
Hal invited me and Paul to a hockey game and dinner.
Hal made dinner?
No, that was my contribution.
The mind boggles.
Well, you've been gone a long time, Margot. Things change.
Well, you didn't waste any time at all. It's Holloway. That's a cozy little scene at Lakeview Towers. I'm surprised you made it here.
You know, I was wondering how long it was going to take you before you mentioned something about that. You know what, Margot? That was a business meeting. Did you understand?
We all know how you like to mix business with pleasure, like you did with Tom in New York City.
Hello, Barbara. Don't suppose you're looking for Hal. You probably already know where he is since you're so good at keeping tabs on him.
No, you don't have to tell me where Hal is. In fact, in case you're wondering, he'll be with me tonight.
Oh, I do have to hand it to you. Once you get a guy hooked, you know just how to reel him in, don't you?
Perhaps you'd like some pointers, since you seem to have such difficulty in holding on to a man. Oh, by the way, I don't think it really took a mind reader to figure out what you were doing at Ambrose Bingham's office yesterday. So you're finally ready to publicly admit that you lost Tom?
If that were true, I wouldn't be smiling if I were you. Because my marriage to Tom is the only thing that's holding me back from going after Hal. No holds barred. And if that were the case, you would lose.
Hey, it's coffee break time. How about buying your poor old mother a croissant, huh?
Not until Barbara explains her cracks about Margot.
Barbara didn't mean a thing by it. Come on.
Why shouldn't I fly to Greece?
That's not what I said, Tom.
Fine. I'll be more specific. Tell me why I shouldn't fly to Greece without first warning Margot that I'm coming.
Tom, you're just making a mountain out of a molehill.
Lisa, would you stop with the faces? I am so sick and tired of being put in the middle of this mess.
And what is this mess?
I talked to Kim and Bob last night. I asked them. I told them that someone in the family should tell you what's going on, but obviously no one wants to tell you the truth, Tom, including your own mother.
What is the truth?
While you have been slaving away in Washington, D.C. for the common good, your wife's interest in her best buddy and longtime partner, Hal Munson, has become decidedly more than professional.
Say one more word, Barbara.
No, Lisa, I think it's about time somebody thought about Tom in all of this.
Now, since when have you given a damn about me, Barbara? Last year you tried to wreck my marriage by trying to make me believe that I'd slept with you one drunken night in New York. Well, that didn't work. So now, you're trying to make me believe that Margot is having some sordid affair over in Greece. Is that it? Well, is she doing this in between searching for Craig and comforting Betsy, huh?
Oh, fine, Tom. I don't care if you believe me or not, but why don't you ask your mother? She knows the whole story.
What story?
This has gone on long enough.
Go ahead. Tell him, Lisa. Margot's made no secrets about this.
Barbara, if you've got something to say, say it.
She has nothing to say.
All I've heard so far is innuendo.
You want facts, Tom? I'll
Yeah.
give you some facts. Last winter, after James kidnapped Paul, Hal Munson was assigned to the case, and we became very close. We started seeing each other, and Margot couldn't stand it. She behaved more like a jealous wife than a partner. She started checking up on us, following me. She followed me at night to business meetings, and then went back to Hal and tried to make him believe that I was sleeping with other men. She was obsessed.
She was obsessed because she wanted to protect her good friend, that's all. That's what she told me. She told you the same thing.
And tell Tom what else she told you, Lisa. You don't want to tell him that part, do you? That's fine, I'll tell him. Margot told me that if it weren't for her marriage to you, she'd go after Hal. She'd fight me for him. And you see, Tom, now she's won. And I really don't care if you believe me or not about all this, because Hal's out in Greece. I knew I'd lost when he went to Greece with Margot, and I really don't want to talk about it very much anymore because it still hurts. But I just didn't think it was fair to you for you to go to Greece, not knowing what you're getting into. So now you know. I'll be out front.